What is going on, everybody? The Roundtable of Wraith is finally back. We got a channel update for you today, reacting to the banned and restricted list. We're going to give you some updates. And we got Sam with us today. So
Hey,
I know it's
What's
pretty
up,
pretty
boys?
exciting.
Yeah.
And
first time?
I think, yeah, Sam, is this the first time on camera with us?
Yeah, other than my hands, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen his hands and the top of his head, but you have never
right.
seen the man himself.
I'm
But
sorry, everyone who has to see my face.
no, it's a good thing. You're a beautiful man, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And we got our faces are kind of like in a round table formation this time, which is pretty cool. Shout out to Chris. Chris is always the team member putting together all the overlays and the outlines and all that, putting in all the hard work behind the scenes, and we appreciate and love him for that. So thank you, Chris. So let's start with before we go to Mark, actually, let's just do a quick update. Ryan and I were down at the Calling in Las Vegas, and if you came up to one of us and said hi, or you told us thank you for the hard work or any of that jazz, we really appreciate it. There was a handful of people that, of course, recognized my annoying voice and you can't really miss me because I'm loud and obnoxious. So a handful of people were like, wait a minute, I think I know you. And I'm like, oh, God, yeah, you probably do.
Asshole.
Yeah.
I'm the asshole on that one channel.
Nah, no. Nobody at least told me I was an asshole to my face, but that's a good thing. But we had fun.
Yeah.
We had fun. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, it was really cool because, we don't do this for the recognition or anything like that. We do this because we're just people that love the game and stuff. So to have people in Vegas come up to us and be like, "Hey, are you on the round table?" And we're like, "Yeah." People watch our channel. Like it was really cool. It was a cool experience overall.
It was awesome. And then as far as the event itself went, we both dropped after round 4. But the whole team actually dropped after round 4. Me, Brian, Levi,
baby,
and Bob. But we all had fun. We did a lot of side events. We made a lot of memories and fun experiences. And
I cracked a fable.
Yeah, and during the pre-release event on the world premiere, Ryan did crack is it Corsham? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Corsham.
Yeah, Corsham. Ryan cracked the Corsham. But he didn't spaz out because he didn't even realize it. He kept shuffling through his packs. He didn't even realize he hit it. And then he went back through his cards and was like, "Oh, I guess I got it."
I had no idea. For 15 minutes, it was on the table. It was the first pack I pulled, and I just missed it.
You could have, if that was the first pack you pulled, if you would have screamed loud enough.
I could have been the first. I could have been the first person in the world to pull that card.
Yeah.
And instead, I was a fucking asshole.
And now you're the second, right?
I was like 9.
He's like the 9th.
No, by that time, no one cared. It was on Discord. People knew what it did. No one knew what it did. It's like on this day when you wake up and you have your coffee, you get a resource point, and everyone's like, "What does this mean?"
They should ban it.
Oh,
we'll get to the bans there. This is the grumpy Gus over here.
That's a good transition period, but
yeah.
But yes, thank you for those of you who said hi to us down there. We did have a good time. And we look forward to doing more events like that. Shout out to Channel Fireball. The event went smoothly. Shout out to, Legend Story Studios. Everything was awesome. Couldn't ask for a better weekend, except for some better results. But hey, that's user error and not their fault.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the big news of the day. We have yesterday an article came out updating the restricted and banned list, and they being LSS wrote a very good article, in my opinion, about why they chose to ban the following 2 cards. And the first card we'll talk about is Seeds of Agony, which anybody who has played the game over the course of the last 3 months knows how important Seeds of Agony is to Chain. They give their reasoning as to why they chose to ban it, so I don't think we need to go in depth as to why they picked to banish this card, or what's it called? Not banish, ban. Same thing. They sent it to the banish zone. Their banish zone. So as the resident Chain player, Mark, going forward without Seeds of Agony, give me your reactions and what do you think Chain might look like without it?
He's gonna be more expensive, and it sucks. I mean, the card was so great. It was like the zero cost. It sets up all your attacks, your weapon, bounding, unhallowed. It's a card you get to play from the banish zone. So like, and whenever you see it, you're happy. If it's in your hand, if it's in your banish zone, it's the greatest card. And as I said in the previous video, the artwork is so sexy. So it's just nice to look at when it's in your hand. It's just, it sucks, man. It sucks. Because now, like, the only other cards that you can play from the banish zone are 2 cost and a 3 cost. I mean, you don't even have a 1 coster in there. It goes 0, 2, 3. So at least make it a 1 cost. Like, don't ban it, man. Just make it a 1 cost. Change the text. Why'd you have to ban it?
I think
I'm
they
hurt.
saw the. I think they saw the writing on the wall a little bit. Like I think they were afraid. Like you get this new set, right? We get Monarch, and like clearly there was a not. I hesitate to say power creep because you still had good here. Like Bravo was still good, Katsu was still good. It kind of pushed Dorinthia out of the meta a little bit because Prism was so good, but
Thank
who
God.
cares? But Chain was he was the best. Like he was the best deck in the format. Calling results aside, everyone knew it. And I don't think with the Tails release, right, he was going to get worse. Like he was still going to probably be. I mean, and then they dropped Duskblade, but we'll talk about that in a second. Like he wasn't getting any worse. And realistically, had this ban list not come out, he was probably going to be the best deck in the format again. Like he wasn't getting any downgrades, and like you can talk about Frostbite, how that was going to screw him up, but was it really going to screw him up? Like Herald of Judgment didn't really screw him up, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is a chain breaker." Like he didn't give a shit about that. So I think they were just like, we got to do something. We have to change the scope of this, or else, Oldham, Lexi, and Briar might just get pushed aside, and Nationals and more callings are just going to be chain, chain, chain. So
It makes sense. I get it, but it just hurts.
I think my favorite part about the whole ban was not even really the card being banned, but the way in which they went about explaining their reasoning and also explaining the process that they were going through when they created the card, which led to them missing or maybe not considering the power that it was going to be at. And as someone who came from Yu-Gi-Oh, where we would wait for ban lists like Christmas because we just couldn't wait for the format to be fixed, but rather than fixing it, they were just fixing it for you to buy more of their new product. It was really refreshing to see that they explained their process, and even they explained that the card had originally gone through. Because I remember when I first started playing against that card with Levi, I'd said, I don't know why they would make this 0. It really should have been a 1 cost card, and it would have been fine. And it was interesting to read in the article that they said they had thought about that and they were planning on it, but it was going to affect sealed play more than CC. And I thought that was a little odd just because I had thought CC was the main like attention that they were putting into the game. But after reading what they said about Seeds and then even about Duskblade, where they didn't even test it in CC, I thought that was very interesting to see their mindset for just the game itself and how they're going about making these sets or what their intention was originally for the set. So I really enjoyed just getting in to see what LSS's thoughts process was and specifically how they're going about creating their sets, which was really interesting.
LSS like loves sealed and limited play. They love their sealed and limited. But going off of your Yu-Gi-Oh point, one of the things that I really appreciate about this whole thing is, and I'm not a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I just kind of follow it every once in a while. But it always seems like for Yu-Gi-Oh, a lot of the cards that get hit with limited or banned are cards that at one point in time were extremely expensive. Like you buy a play set of these cards, you buy 3 of them, they might run you 3, 4, sometimes even $500, and you get a play set, and then they show up on the ban list the next time, and now these cards are like worth pennies, right? I love, and we've said this in set 1, the power level in the decks of any hero that you run are usually found in the commons or the rares, right? Those are what like Take Flight for Bolton just comes to my head, right? That's just one example. Seeds of Agony for Chain. Those are the 9 ofs in those 2 decks, and they're commons. You can get those for pennies. So yes, while you're putting this card on a ban list and you're just killing it, it was worth, if you didn't pull a full set in whatever amount of packs that you bought, you filled the rest of it with $1 gets you a full play set of these. maybe $2. You know what I'm saying? So like that was just I love the fact that LSS emphasized, yes, we know the Majestics are insane, but they're not banning Command and Conquer, right? They're not saying, okay, Command and Conquer is too broken. You might have spent $600 on a full playset if you're buying them now, right? Whatever the hell ridiculous price. They're not saying that. They're saying here's this 9-cent card that is now unplayable, which I appreciate so much from the parent company of this game.
So
I just like I don't know why they couldn't just change the text though. Like why do they gotta outright?
You're such a chain homer. Like you're
can I?
Like-
I'll interject. I think it's harder. It's harder to change the text on a card that's playable. I know they did it with Vestige, but I feel like it's easier done with an equipment than it is done with a card that happens to be played multiple instances in a game. But I think at the end of the day, though, the transparency they showed, I think that you guys talked about and highlighted, is appreciated. The process, knowing why, is appreciated, and then knowing that Chain still has multiple avenues to be a competitive hero. If anything, Mark, I think you should take this as a challenge, because in many ways, like, now it's not as easy as it once was. What can you do to get back to that strength? And I think you might actually find yourself having more fun trying to solve that puzzle than you were when you were already given the keys to the Corvette. If you get what I'm saying, am I wrong there?
No, like just when you're like,
yes, man, it's gonna be crazy.
What?
I'm gonna make you squeam when we play, Jim. I'm gonna make you squeam when I play Chain.
I don't think he's dead. I think Eclipse is dead. I think that's a dead card. I don't think Chain is dead, but I think Chain builds going forward are going to be so significantly different. I equate this to Jim and Mark. You'll remember this. Remember when Snoke first got hit in Destiny, and it was like he can only apply his ability to damage now. He can't apply it to every thing. And everyone was like, "Oh my God, Snoke's dead. Snoke is dead. No one's gonna play Snoke anymore." And then all of a sudden, I'm pretty sure it was Joe from the Hyperloop started playing like Snoke damage decks. Like it was like it wasn't Kylo Snoke, but it was something else. Where what's that?
Like Snoke and Executioners or something?
Yeah, that's what it was.
But he wasn't dead. Like all of a sudden now it's like, wait, like they had to hit him again in order for him to finally be fair. And it was like, okay. Like I think that's what Chain is. Like everyone else is like, Chain's dead, he's dead. There's gonna be a Chain build that capitalizes. Like he still has probably one of the best hero abilities in the game, if not the best hero ability in the game. So he's not going anywhere. It's just going to be such a different build that it's going to take a little bit of time. But I think he's no longer best deck in format, but he could still be close.
Sam, go ahead. Go ahead, Sam.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, he also not only does he still have the best hero ability, he still has, I think, one of the best equipments in the whole game with Carrion Husk. Like that card alone, from what we're kind of seeing with this new format, with the unblockable dominates and things like that, one Carrion Husk could literally just keep him in the game, which I think is what they had originally intended. Because I think Chain was supposed to be like a, build up to the end game, and Carrion Husk is supposed to help you to get there. But he didn't really need that. So you still have Art of War, you still have Carrion Husk, you still have his hero ability, which I think those three things alone are extremely powerful still. Yeah. And Shadow Puppetry, just to put that on top too. But
don't forget Shadow Reverser.
If you can get him, but yeah, without Eclipse or Shadow Reverser, yeah.
Shadow Reverser is the 2 card, yeah.
I think Eclipse is dead personally. I'd love to see a list that can still play it effectively, but I don't think getting out of Eclipse is remotely possible anymore.
I agree.
I start playing energy potions and shit like that. Like I don't know if it's gonna happen.
So moving forward, I think the channel viewers and our subscribers are gonna want to see what you have to cook up with Chain, Mark. So check back with us post Aria, because I have a feeling that Mark will be excited for Aria, but he'll keep going back to his baby and tinkering with that as well. So I'm sure we'll be able to come out with an updated Chain list that Mark prefers, with these adjustments made, and then with Aria's release as well. moving along, they also chose to ban a card in Classic Constructed that hasn't even come out yet technically, and that card is the Duskblade, which is the Dawnblade's counterpart. And the reason being that they gave on their in their article was really interesting. It was similar along the lines of they were testing it in a format, Blitz or sealed or whatever it might have been, or limited, and they thought it was fine, and then they were like, wait, due to the fact of the limited testing in Classic Constructed, we can see this card actually being a problem.
They didn't test it in Classic Constructed.
Yeah,
Isn't that
that's
what the article said.
I don't know if it said they didn't or if it was limited. I don't know. Like if they had limited testing, but either way, they kind of owned up to the fact that they had put this card in the game without a lot of testing in Classic Constructed. And I think when everybody read the ability, and because this card isn't out, I will go ahead and read it really quick. It's a once per turn action of $1 attack for 2 base damage. It's a 2-handed sword for rune blades. And the printed text says, whenever you attack with Duskblade, if you've played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, put a +1 counter on Duskblade. At the beginning of your end phase, if you haven't played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, remove all +1 counters from Duskblade. So I'm going to go to Sam first. Sam, why do you think they banned it without it even hitting a Classic Constructed game one time?
So I like what LSS has done a lot with the game. There haven't really been a lot of things that they've done that I've really faulted them on or thought that it was like a poor decision. Like even with the whole, if you remember the whole Monarch Unlimited box or first ed box with unlimited packs in it, right? Like whatever, that's not their fault. But this one I thought was a little weird because even though they say we didn't test this in CC, we didn't know. I didn't either. I could just read the card and understand that it's busted beyond compare, which it just is kind of weird to me that they couldn't see that, which I don't think is true. I kind of am disappointed because I actually really like the card itself. I think it's really powerful, and I really think it's a fun mechanic that you can play with. And I was looking forward to playing with it. But I also understood that it's toxic for the game, and it really shouldn't be in the game. So I'm more upset that they gave it to me just to take it away from me without me even getting a chance to use it. So, like, in this situation, I think an errata would be cool down the line. But I can understand, obviously, whether they can't do that now. I mean, the card's not even out yet. But I am pretty disappointed about this one, I would say. I understand why they did it, but I am.
Can I ask you, is it because, and I'm just asking this because we have all different types of viewers. When somebody reads the ability and they say, okay, well, you have to play an attack and a non-attack on your turn, that seems to be difficult. And if you don't, you get to take your counters away. What's like the theory behind why they thought it was going to be too easily done or too easy to keep? Do you think then if you're playing this weapon, you're just never blocking and you're continually just to go aggressive? Like, what is that the route? Like, why is it so scary?
I think the one thing about the design of the card that you can clearly see that it was a little poorly designed is the fact that it doesn't have any downfalls that the opponent can interact with to make it lose its benefits. So like with Dorinthia, obviously it's the counterpart to Dorinthia's Dawnblade. That has an active interactive portion to it where I can do something to slow that mechanic of it growing its power. This card, there's not really anything I can do. I mean, I can attack, but they can choose not to block to continually play their cards, which, as they mentioned in the article, is detrimental to control decks because control decks are reactionary a lot of times. So it just completely punishes them and takes them out of the game, which is very unhealthy. So the aspect that the card doesn't have any way for me to interact with it to slow it down, I think is the really powerful part that they just didn't think through properly.
Ryan, do you have any follow-up to that? Because I think that was beautifully said.
Yeah, it's perfectly said. I'm not as disappointed as he is. I understand where it's coming from. I hesitate to say that I don't care about it because it's an unreleased card, but more often I mean, this game is growing in popularity. It's like just getting crazy amounts of hype, and for a company at the height of your popularity to come out and say we fucked up, we didn't test this card, and this card should not be playable is amazing. Like no company has done that. No company has said, the we go back to the seeds thing, like the transparency that LSS has given us with this card specifically, saying we didn't test it, we realized that the power level in an unreleased card,
I
like
mean,
this card hasn't.
they even
This
said
card,
we apologize and feel embarrassed.
yeah,
Like,
this card hasn't even been tested. Like it wasn't even like, okay, we ran this card at a calling and everybody was playing it and it just dominated everything. Like this card's probably not even that good in Blitz or Sealed. Like I pulled one at the pre-release and I didn't even play it because it was like, I don't know if it's that good. So like for them to come out and say we realize that this card is probably going to dominate Classic Constructed without even having results to back up that claim and still banning it is I think it's just a tremendous job. Obviously, we as the players, like Sam mentioned, we as the players can look at this card and say, that's pretty messed up. Like this thing should not exist or it should not be this crazy. Um, but for a company at like in the height of their popularity to say we feel embarrassed, we apologize is, I mean, it's just a tremendous job. So yeah, I don't care. I mean, it's gonna feel bad when I pull the cold foil on Friday, but it is what it is. I appreciate them taking the initiative. I'd rather have them do this than have it dominate for a couple of weeks and then they say, okay, this is what we're gonna do.
yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Mark, any follow up thoughts on that?
Just like I agree with him. I agree with everything he said. I like that LSS is transparent. I don't like the fact that they did screw up and they didn't test it. It scares me for other cards in the past and going in the future. It's like, how do you not test Classic Constructed? Basically,
They
like
don't. They
do your
love
best.
sealed. They love sealed.
I to follow up on that, Mark, I took that as the biggest warning flag as well. I praise the transparency and I praise them outing themselves on their process. But it is, yeah, it is. It does make me question a little bit. Like, hey, wait a minute, you put an M on this card. This card's gonna have, which means it's gonna hold monetary value, and to put an M on a card and not give it the proper testing is a semi cause for concern. But
But didn't they say that it came along like late in the process? Like they added this card to the pool like later
well,
than they normally would.
I mean, sure, but even let's say if it's going to be printed and it's in the set, do your due diligence on a card, right? That's all. That's all we, the competitive player, want. But we do understand mistakes are going to be made,
Yeah.
and so it happens, and there will be always cards that are printed too powerful, then they get fixed, and so they owned up and they fixed it. But hopefully, moving forward, they learn from this, and it's just nothing but goodies all the way down. Go ahead, Ray.
I think what they have to be careful with is the generics. Like the way that they've designed the game with the talent system, like they almost get to test things in a vacuum without worrying about how it impacts past heroes. You know what I mean? Like when they give us these talents, like the elemental rune blade, elemental thing, they can just test this and say, well, this will never affect Dorinthia because she'll never be able to play it. Had Duskblade been an elemental rune blade two-handed weapon, I wonder if things would have changed, right? The fact that it was Runeblade only and that it opened the door for Viserai and Chain to play it, I think that might have handcuffed them more than the ability of the card. I'm interested to see, like if you tested this with Briar only and you were to say this is an elemental Runeblade weapon, I don't know then if it becomes as busted as people think it might be. I mean, obviously, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but where they have to be careful is when they start printing these generics. If you stick the talent system like they do, and you just get to test in a vacuum, I mean, I think that's what they should be focusing on. Um, the only thing that's going to get extremely busted is when you just say, all right, every hero in this class can play it, or here's a generic. Like, I wonder, like, I don't know, if they release like a generic attack action card that did something busted, how is that gonna? That's gonna have a bigger ripple effect than like an elemental guardian majestic that might not have been tested
Sure.
as much. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But they said in their little speech that it was like a throwback to Monarch, so they wanted it to affect like Chain and all them
Yeah, that makes
when they
sense.
thought of the rule. But I do agree with you. I mean, again, if they were to, instead of banning it, just edit the text and call it like Elemental Room Raid. So
I
that we
think
can
we'll.
all,
See, I think we'll see this one again.
I hope so. Because I really want to do like 15 damage to Jim and watch him go crazy at me.
My
It's
God.
always Jim.
It's always me.
But yeah, I do
It's
think
always
we'll see
me.
it again.
It's always me because I want everything to play fair, and Mark's always like, every game we've ever played, he's playing the.
You want everything to
the
do
gas.
like 5 damage.
Yeah,
at a
nah,
time.
no, that's not true. But you know, anyways, we regret. We move on. Quick channel update for everybody. Moving forward, we do plan on continuing our first impression series. So what we like to do genuinely is play with the cards for at least a week before we give our first impression, right? So we could all the cards are spoiled and we can start to fire off videos, but we would prefer to actually get it on the table. In my opinion, that means a lot. Like sometimes a card reads a certain way, but playing it and feeling it makes you get a new perspective on it. So we'll probably play with the cards for a week, and then you could expect us to start firing off our first impressions videos of these 3 new heroes. We're excited to have Sam and Levi join us in that process, and then with the calling of Vegas out of the way and our road to Nats out of the way, we do plan on putting up a lot of gameplay videos of these new heroes, some of our throwback favorites, and just having a lot more fun this set and being a little bit more channel active. Whereas during Monarch, we kind of went radio silent there as we prepped for our local, road to Nats and our callings and stuff. So having a little bit more fun, trying to dip our toes in making some more gameplay videos, and definitely doing our first impression series and maybe even some lessons in series. So anything you boys want to add before we wrap it up?
No, I was gonna say, like, you Oldham fans out there, that's what I'm gonna be building. So I'll be doing like the lessons in or whatever. I have to find an O word.
Yeah,
to
oddities, and I don't know. You have to find an O word.
O is weird. We'll put it on the drawing board or something like that. But yeah, I'll be kind of going through that process. I'm excited to build him and test him. So I'll be releasing a series of videos that are focusing on Oldham.
Sam, who are you excited to play?
I'm excited to play Briar, man.
Is that the name of the character? I don't know if that's the name of the character.
Briar.
Yeah.
No.
That's my girl Ellen right there,
it's
man.
Ellen. I wish one of these days. Yeah, one of these days, Sam, on the day they release Briar's artwork, Sam photoshopped Ellen's face on it because it just looked too much like her, and I can't stress enough how absolutely funny it is. So yeah, we definitely gotta put that out there.
First day at locals, man. I'm going on Word, and I'm taking that edit and I'm printing it out and I'm putting it in my sleeve, dude. That's gonna be my Briar. But for real though, she I wasn't super excited for this next set after I saw everything. I was one of those sticklers that really wanted to see a new wizard or anything but another Runeblade, I guess. Yeah, anything but another Runeblade. But after getting to play the cards a little bit more, going to some sealed stuff, kind of seeing how they've developed this set, I am really excited for Briar because I'm a ninja and a brute player, Rhinar and Katsu. And she feels a lot like the two of them combined in a lot of ways, where you have the ability to go wide, you can go tall, you have split damage that's coming at people to make their blocking awkward. But the cool thing with her is she benefits from doing damage, unlike Rhinar, where they get their hand back so they can come back. You actually get rewarded for that, so you can defend pretty well. So I like her flexibility. I think she's going to have a really high skill ceiling, and I think the deck building is going to take a lot of time, and you're going to have a lot of flexibility. So we'll have to see how the meta shifts. We'll have to see how where her place fits, and I guess all of the heroes like that. But I'm just really excited to really play some new matchups. Honestly, that's the coolest thing about it. Not even the cards, just having new matchups to play with, because I really enjoy that aspect. So.
How about you, Mark? Are you following suit on your Runeblade ways? Even though this Runeblade is more or less like a grass. I don't want to say grass fairy, but she's very grassy.
He's quitting. He's quitting. I heard.
There's nothing super like I played her in the pre-release. All the cards, like nothing felt dark about her. Like there was no arcane smash. It was just like Bramble Spark. Like what? I don't want to sit there and be like Bramble Spark you. I mean, what kind of crap is that? Like I need some like evil card. Like there's only one evil card this whole set. Like Sigil of Suffering.
Yes.
And I didn't get that card honestly yet. But
that's like your favorite card ever. Like yes.
Well, so then can I ask? I think that requires does that mean this set is of little interest to you? We don't expect you to be playing any of these heroes long term, or do you think that an old dog can learn new tricks and you might switch to Guardian or Ranger or something else?
Out of this set, Oldhim seems like the gruesomest. Like he just reminds me of like a Viking, just rocking out some metal, smashing people. So I am interested to see what Wax comes up with. I mean, some of the cards have like endless winter. I mean, I love the winter. We're entering the winter now. It's a great.
You would like the winter.
Yeah, everything dies in the winter.
You would like winter. Of course, you like winter.
But honestly, I mean, I'm looking at Viscera and Chain still. Like, if I had to pick a character to play in a game, like a CC game, I would probably still ride those two and see what cards from this set throw back. I know I've seen a lot of cards that just do some arcane, even like Sigil of Suffering.
Yeah.
Like, I could do damage on your turn. I mean, with Invert Existence and Sigil, those are two cards I could do damage on your turn. I mean,
gross.
I dig that a lot. But we'll see. Most likely, I'll play Briar because it is a Runeblade and see how it goes. But the heart won't be in it really.
Yeah, and have you ever played Ranger before?
Nah, dog. I only try to play Ranger, but I've never really played it. Yeah, obviously I'm excited for Lexi. I don't even know if I'm gonna build anything else for a while. The funny thing is, like, I'm actually a decent Guardian player as well. So Oldhim will probably come around to, like, I'll probably build an Oldhim deck too. But obviously I'm gonna put my heart and soul into Ranger, and with Levi's help, hopefully, I know he's already got some. The second we get him on the show, he's gonna go on and on about how he's already got some crock-potted deck that could dish out like 40 a turn, and
Snapshot dealer.
I'm gonna try to go my wonky route as I always do, and I might go down routes that don't seem so familiarly, or like the clear cut path. So I think everybody gets on Lexi and wants to go lightning, and I'm actually really intrigued by ice, and I want to basically just have fun this set, trying different avenues and really explore. Like Sam said, deck building is going to be hard. Finding the best deck will be fun, but I also want to try different routes, so the different elements and seeing how much of a certain element you need in a deck and how all of that stuff goes. So I'm just overall pretty pumped for everything.
I like how with the new, we only have 3 heroes, but it's like we got 9 new heroes, which is so cool. It's because of the fact that you can go 2 different ways or try to find anything in between that. So that's kind of changed my perspective a little bit after playing some of the cards and just seeing how dynamic these new heroes can be. It's going to be cool to see how people take their own spin and then how it's going to affect the meta. So I'm excited to see that. I'm not the most excited about the heroes, but I'm excited to see that aspect.
It's sick because like Earth Oldhim is different than Ice Oldhim. Like it plays completely different. Like Lightning Lexi is such a different than Ice Lexi. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so different, which is really refreshing.
Yep. And
Feels a little like Magic with those colors and everything.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, it is a little bit. For this one set is
They
very
love Magic. That's
Yeah.
I
their
was gonna say
thing.
so many things are like Magic.
That's
yeah.
their thing. They love that. That's where they came from.
As we go to wrap this up, I think I speak for the team. As always talk to us in the comments. We try to get back to you as fast as we can. We appreciate it, and at the same time, good luck to you all on this upcoming. What is it? The 20? What will it be like? The 25th, 24th?
24th.
Good luck to all of you on the 24th with your, at least in America, the 24th
Rips.
on your rips. And we look forward to hearing from you and building decks and working with you guys to have some fun. So for the Roundtable of Wraith, my name is Jim, and you can see we were joined by Sam, Ryan, and Mark, and we are signing out. Take care, everybody.